render that individual.
You don't want to talk about President al-Bashir of Sudan because he travels freely around the world despite your warrant to have him arrested. The latest place he went was South Africa. You told the South Africans to arrest him. They refused to do so. This is a huge blow to your credibility, isn't it? Huge blow.
This I disagree. This is not a blow to the credibility of the ICC. Again,
they simply ignored your warrants.
Again, I must say that this treaty, this court is about duties and responsibilities among states parties and by the court, and by states parties themselves. Again, our responsibility is to investigate the case, request for arrest warrants, and the judges have issued those warrants.
And they need to take your authority seriously, which they didn't do, did they? They didn't take your authority seriously.
South Africa has the responsibility, has the obligation under the statute, has the legal duty to arrest when there is a fugitive on its soil.
Which they have that responsibility. And you were deeply disappointed.
I am disappointed. I am
deeply disappointed. And with the Security Council that took no action either.
I am disappointed. And what we were supposed to do again, with respect to that, I believe the court has done. But what is positive in this, Tim, you have to remember, is that the South African judicial system itself took up the responsibility to oblige the authorities to arrest.
You're like the surgeon who comes to a patient. The patient dies, and you're saying, "But it was a great operation. It was a great operation. We did a great job, but the patient died."
I do not.
You didn't get the result you wanted.
I do not.
This was a failure for the ICC.
It is not a failure for the ICC because that responsibility.
Your warrant was ignored.
No, that responsibility is not ours. We did not ignore the warrant. It's South Africa that has an obligation.
They don't take your warrant seriously. This is a big problem to your credibility.
I think it is a simplistic way of looking at things. It is really not actually the fault of the ICC, because I tried to explain to you that the ICC was set up like that. We don't have these powers, and you have recognized it. We don't have the powers of arrest.
You had in Africa 34 countries, I think, that signed up to the Rome Statute.
Yes.
And now you have Africans, time and again, African leaders saying this court isn't for us. We had President Museveni of Uganda saying at the end of 2014, "I supported the court at first," he said, "but they've turned it into a vessel for oppressing Africa, so I'm done with that court." Kenyan Foreign Minister, "They're treating us like toddlers. Africa feels marginalized." On your watch, you as an African, you're losing Africa. You're losing Africa's participation in this court.
I don't think I am.
That's a central blow to the credibility of this court.
I do not think that the voices of a few leaders or a few people from Africa should be used to disregard the support that we still have in Africa. We do have support in Africa. As I told you, just recently, we were an individual was arrested by Africans and surrendered to the court. This is the situation in Mali. And before that, we have had other African countries arresting individuals and surrendering them to the court. The recent Article 70 cases in the Bemba situation, we have had about 4 people at least, arrested in different parts of Africa and in Europe, arrested and surrendered to the court. This is just last year. So if we just take those who are criticizing the court unjustifiably, I must say, because their criticism is not backed by the relevant facts and what is actually happening.
Well, the own president of the ICC, she says it's a problem for your credibility that you just focused on Africa. Whether that was by design or just the way it happened, but it's a problem for your credibility. She says that. You're president of your ICC.
I think it is correct to say that most of our cases, or all of our cases at the moment, are in Africa. But that is not the whole picture, Tim.
I know it's not the whole picture, but it's the picture that they are looking at.
Yeah, it's the picture they are looking at.
And this is why at an African Union summit, where they want to taking steps to set up their own human rights court and justice court, what was the first thing they did? They voted themselves immunity as leaders, immunity from prosecution, which goes against that the ICC stands for. You were set up to end impunity.
And
they are perpetuating it. And you say you still have Africa on board?
Yes.
They were unanimous. They were unanimous in voting themselves immunity from prosecution.
Well,
every member of the AU.
That is definitely not from the advice of the ICC. No. Because in our statutes, and this will continue to be, we don't advise them. We do not advise them. In this statute, there is no immunity, as you know, for head of state or whoever you may be, whatever your official capacity.
They've just voted it for themselves.
But that is for themselves, and it is for a court. I do not think that. Firstly, I want to say that.
You're proud of what they did?
Definitely, I'm not proud. I'm not proud of that, because I think the kinds of court that the ICC is, why it was set up, is to exactly deal with that.
So it was a slap in the face for them to do that. A slap in the face.
I don't know why what they are doing, setting up their court, should be a slap in the face for ICC.
Because it goes against everything that they've signed up with you and the Rome Statute.
That does not mean that the ICC, us, will not do our duties in accordance with the legal mandate. It doesn't mean.
It just means that they won't go along with it. That's all.
Well, as far as crimes,
and they've already proved they won't go along.
As far as crimes within the jurisdiction of the court are committed, and we have jurisdiction, there will be no immunity for whoever it may be. For whoever. This is clear, and this is what we will continue to do. This is our mandate. What others are doing, unfortunately, is not within my legal mandate or that of the court. So, but I also want to say something. Setting up a court to try these atrocity crimes is also not against ICC's principles. In fact, ICC is a court of last resort. We will be encouraged by national jurisdictions taking up their responsibility to investigate and prosecute these crimes, and also trying to set up other courts to deal with these crimes. This is why the ICC was set up, so that when these courts don't function, when we have jurisdiction, the ICC can step in as a court of last resort.
All right. Madam Prosecutor, you come from the Gambia. You come from a country with one of the worst human rights records in Africa. You served a dictator with one of the worst human rights records in Africa. In September last year, Human Rights Watch reported that the Gambian population lives in a climate of fear in which government justice and accountability for abuses is utterly beyond reach. Why are you silent about the human rights abuses in your own country?
Because it is not my duty or my responsibility, or does not fall within my mandate, particularly as prosecutor of the ICC, to pronounce or to advise, whether favorably or not, any government, including my government, on political issues.
And not to say where you see clear abuses of human rights?
I have not done it for any other country. I will also not do it for my...
You didn't mind wagging your finger at the Security Council and reminding them of their inaction. The Security Council,
we have a relationship in which they referred a situation to us.
You didn't mind speaking out over Burundi or Central African Republic?
Because when I speak out, and I want this to be very clear, anywhere that I speak out and make a declaratory statement, I am urging people not to commit crimes that fall within the jurisdiction of the ICC. This is my responsibility. I am not the Commissioner for Human Rights. I'm a prosecutor.
Yeah, and the Human Rights Watch reported that crimes in Gambia included, by state security forces and militias, arbitrary arrest and detention, torture, enforced disappearance, and unlawful killing. Something which might fall within your remit, reasonably be expected to fall within your remit. What would be so wrong in you warning them against doing that?
Because,
what would
as
be
I
so
said,
wrong? What's the worst that could happen to you, Madam
as a prosecutor? It is not about myself. It is about my legal mandate.
But you have huge independence. You're a prosecutor.
Of course I do.
You can point the finger.
But
it's you who are deciding not to say anything about this.
I am not going to make pronouncement on political issues that are happening in countries.
This is not political. This is abuse. This is violations of human. This is killing and torture.
Is it crimes that fall within my jurisdiction? That is the question.
These are crimes.
But they have to fall within my jurisdiction. It should not be so difficult to understand that I'm a prosecutor. And under the Rome Statute, my crimes are war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity.
And you quoted as
those crimes, even where they occur, must satisfy the gravity threshold to warrant the intervention of the ICC.
And you're famous for saying, Madam Prosecutor, I like to see that the victims know that they have a voice,
yes,
but not in the Gambia.
I think this is unfair to say. It is unfair to say because, as I told you, I go after crimes that fall within my jurisdiction. Not any crimes. Not all sorts of crimes. They have to be crimes that are within the jurisdiction of the ICC.
And murder and torture doesn't fall within your remit.
When we look at situations, when we decide to look into any situations where we feel that our crimes have been committed, there are several issues that we look at, including gravity, warranting the intervention of the ICC. I must not raise expectations so much that I am not able to satisfy that. It's not possible.
Madam Prosecutor, the helpless, the dispossessed, the abused die when people like you remain silent, don't they? You know this to be true. All around the world, people are dying because important people are staying silent.
Tim,
how can you stay silent when you know that human rights abuses are being committed and you have the chance to speak out? Because what's the worst that can happen to you?
My court is not a court of human rights. I must also remain independent. I must remain impartial.
What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? Staying silent or talking out?
I have been talking out where I can talk out. Where I cannot, I will not. And I will not be dragged into...
It may be long, but not forever. No, no. You'll get nowhere in your foolish endeavor. Remember, your works shall be your evidence. Guys watching you from across the fence, taking advantage of the underprivileged. Too long living in bondage. Advantage of the situation. I work, you get the promotion. Advantage of the underprivileged. Too long living in a bondage. Advantage of the situation. I work, you get the promotion. Yourself because of evildoers. Yet a little while and they shall be no more. You'll get your strength from one who's got the power. And you'll overcome in death, that I'm sure. They're taking advantage. Help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged. Oh, Jah, help the underprivileged. Oh, yes, help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged. Help the underprivileged.
Now this is the one and only Amulragal FM, playing you the best in
Kora, Ndaga, Seurba, Soca, Afrofusion, Reggae, Dancehall, Rocksteady, Soul, Jazz and Dancehall.
Alongside DJ Baba is. Tune in and don't stop tuning.
Is in The Hague, the headquarters of the International Criminal Court. This week, Conflict Zone is in The Hague, the headquarters of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, and my guest is Fatou Bensouda, the chief prosecutor. Despite her Gambian nationality, she's lost the support of many African nations who had first welcomed the court and have now decided that it's biased against them. Is she part of the solution or the problem? Fatou Bensouda, welcome to Conflict Zone.
Thank you.
13 years of your court's operation, $1 billion so far spent, 2 convictions. How can anybody say that this is worth the money?